unbelievable.
Would you look at Nihal Sarin's face? He's absolutely loving it. When he lands a chess trick on Hans Niemann, he can't believe it. Hans, that is. It's the Team Championships FIDE World Rapid event back in August 2024. They sit down. These are the opening moves. Clock times on the left, 15 minutes each, plus a little bit of time back per move. What an incredible battle this is, and a great finish. Now let's first have a look at the opening. We get ourselves a Gucci Reza piano named after the king of fashion himself on screen here, but we're not lingering too long on these opening moves, right? Standard stuff, Italian game, very dull, almost as dull as this book by Anish Giri. That's an absolute classic read though if you find yourself with a spare 20-25 hours. And we now see rook e8, knight f1. This bishop challenges the other, so what does Hans do? Bishop a4, could have swapped off, but pin and win, baby. This bishop blocks the way here, and after knight g3, Nihal now rotates, opens the tension, and still we don't see an exchange. Hans does this, dropping back, real pogo stick action with that bishop. That's why he practices in his spare time, visualizes moments like this, and it keeps tension on the board. And the best part is that after knight g6, full symmetry on the king side, Nihal only goes and unlocks himself a day out at the tattoo parlor with Vichy sir. Very lucky guy. We now see d4 for the score. The bishops are laser beaming down towards the king, and how about this for a response? b5 for the high five. Kasparov rushes in, gives Nihal one. We now get bishop e3, and he whispers on guard as he pushes forward that c pawn. Very aggressive move. Now we see takes here, pawn recaptures, and a4 looks to split up that Spartan wall of pawns. And if you play the natural b4, well, then we go to the back cave, not played. You give up this massive c4 square, and the bishop can start rotating, or come here, this kind of thing. Quite nice for white as it happens, plus this guy a little bit dead for the moment. So what do we see instead? Let's jump back to the game. We get pawn c4, explosive, opens this tension. Hans now takes, rook recaptures, and a knife hits f5 here. Very deadly. Kasparov used to say a knight here is worth a pawn. So queen b6 is played, looks to cover one of these sensitive entry points. And now Hans comes in anyway with queen d6 here. Now you can't recapture that one, or else the knight hops in and you hit this guy and this guy. Far from ideal. So instead, Nihal whispers, do you even rook lift, bro? Hits the queen, and X-rays defends his own. You could simply take here. Very good move. But we see the queen dropping back. Again, Niemann, so ambitious, always wanting to keep those pieces on. And after takes on a4, there's an attack now on b2. But after bishop takes, the queen laterally covers. There's tension once more between the bishops. Are we finally going to see them exit the board? Yes, we are. Nihal deletes that one. This rook recaptures. Queen b5 hits it, but Hans defends with queen c2. Allowing, though, now this knife to hit f4. Not that you could have stopped it. It eyeballs the king. It's looking at this outpost. Plus this rook could maybe swing one day if this guy moves. It's dangerous. Knight d2 played though, going after the c4 pawn, and now a really nice response is possible for black here, but not played. It was knight d7. And I love this variation because if you play rook takes, let's say, then there's this knight b6 move. The rook is embarrassed, doesn't actually have any squares to go to, can't go anywhere safe down the c file here. Even this one's covered. Just a really nice variation. You win an exchange. And if instead knight takes, well then similar idea. But this time you spawn the seahorse and you undermine the defender of the knight. You know, you're losing an exchange because if it moves, you lose a knight here. Really nice idea because then also the rook can swing to g6, support an attack. Fine, missed. Just wanted to show that one. Instead, we see this knight come to the side of the board, open the rook swing, although be careful, knight e7 check can come if this guy ever moves. But this is a mistake. They are fighting for the same square, and Niemann now plays king h2, covers h3, prepares g3. Classic defensive idea, but how about this? bang, an octopus that Stocktopus can be proud of is born, hits a rook, hits a pawn, hits a pawn. Very, very nasty stuff. So this one sidesteps, saves itself, covers b2 here, but it does leave this hanging. You know, what if takes? Playable, then knight takes here, there's an attack here, there's an attack here. I mean, the queen is overloaded, you do have to be careful, but long story short, white's doing okay, even a bit better. But not played. We get rook d7 played instead. You can now definitely take that pawn on c4. You know, then rook takes on a5 could be coming. Different game. Instead, we see knight e3 from Hans. He just gangs up on it one more time, and now the variations play out. With knight takes on f2, this knight taking on c4, and now it gets fascinating because knight takes on e4 is played, using the fact that the queen is overloaded, defending, attacking, etc. And there's an amazing move here for Hans Niemann, or looks amazing, winning a piece, or is it? Nihal fights back. Now top engine lines, actually rook takes on a5, very strong, even b4. But we see this one, knight a3. Has Hans completely forgot which way his pieces are supposed to move? Well, no, it looks like you're dead because the queen's attacked and this knight is double attacked. What do you do about it all? Well, there's only one move to stay in the game here. Nihal finds it. It's queen d3. Excellent stuff, because although you can play bang and win the piece, you know, the rook is x-ray defended. If you take the queen off, big whoop-dee, recapture with the knight, everything's covered. There's this response, which Nihal finds. He plays knight f6.
Pooh, what a move. What a move.
Really nice.
Mushrooms.
Rook's under fire, and it's defending this knight, of course. So this is the big problem. We see the queen capture here, but you know, if you try and save the rook or something, then the queen takes the knight. So this one was played. Rook recaptures, but again you've got problems because you're being double whammied. So the rook saves itself. Now the knight drops off. We are level on material after rook takes on a5, but rook e2, knight c4, knight h5, all very natural stuff, but b4 highlights the challenges now. That pawn is running, and it's running fast. Nihal's only hope here, attack, 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 kill the white king. So rook g6 converges. This one's played, passive, but necessary. Now, of course, we don't see this. I was about to say we do. First, f6 flicked in to hold the centre. Lord Hans Feingold, not a fan, but it was needed here. And after rook d5, great move, because if you went b5 straight away, you didn't have this rook d2 defensive resource. We now don't see this knight headed to f4, although it was playable, because then you can either check first or go for an immediate rook d2. Critical defensive resource. Now you cover the pawn enough times, black can't crash through. So okay, we run back to the game. The knight didn't yet jump. Instead, rook c2 played to hit the pawn. If rook d3 looks natural, but then you are running into knight f4 once again, it's very uncomfortable. Black's doing well. So Hans, he just runs the b pawn. Great move. Lets this one drop. Nihal takes it, and now Hans just goes for it, right? Because you could play a drawing variation here, or roughly drawing, right? Something like this. You give the knight, but then you win the exchange, and when the smoke clears, black's got a knight and two pawns for a rook. Should be some kind of rough equilibrium, right? But let's come back. Not played. We get knight a5, very ambitious move, covers rook b3, prepares to run that pawn. Now this knight hits f4, hits the rook, and Niemann really blunders. He has to go rook d2 here. It's just a critical defensive move. But again, ambitious as he is, he plays check, king h7. Again, you have to go rook d2 in worse circumstances, but he plays pawn b6. Now, in fairness to him, he makes this move just at the moment that the chess mafia enter the playing hall. That's enough to distract anyone, right? Look at them, intimidating of course as they are. That puts him off. He gets the double question marks of doom, and guess what? It's checkmate in 4. Now that's a blunder and a half. What is the winning move here? There's only one way to go to get the checkmate in 4. Very well done if you found this idea. It's not obvious. It's rook g to g3.
Checkmate. And if the rook moves away, rook takes g2, king h1 and rook h3 is mate. Unbelievable.
It shuts a trap. Niemann resigns the game on the spot with a lot more time on his clock as well. He rushed it. Now what's the problem? Let's carry on pushing p. Well, then you can go like this, bang. And because of the unfortunate placement of this rook, it actually traps in the king, boxed in. That's an Arabian checkmate. What a beautiful one. You can't step back. And say instead of allowing that, you try and move this rook, give some space. Let's say rook f1. Well, the problem now is you crash through here. You've left the defense of the pawn, and this is how you land the checkmate. And it's just unavoidable. There is absolutely nothing. This is the way to stave it off for one move, but okay, then you die.
Chess speaks for itself.
Great game between these two players. Really exciting, and have a look at the video on screen if you want some more epic chess. Cheers.